Marry me, weirdos.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Gory B Movie.
And I'm Kayla.
And this is our brand new channel. It even looks like a different place. And it smells like new channel.
Brand new channel smell. Here we are.
It smells like
fresh off the
toys and
factory floor.
Yeah. And I don't know, we're doing something different with my headband today, so I look like I'm a groupie for Poison.
I love it. 80s metal hairband.
Let's see who we got in the chat. We got Adam from Farpoint Station. What's up?
Woo.
Jessica Harden, that's my sister. She's
Hi,
my little,
sister.
my sweet little baby sister. So be nice to her or I have to beat you up. I actually have beaten somebody up for all of my siblings but her. So
she's owed it.
She's overdue. I need to beat someone's butt for her. So just
watch out.
Just you try.
Yeah, it's a legal obligation.
Yeah.
So.
And now you can see our mascot. Well, he's actually in pre-mold, but that's Pipkin, our mascot behind us now. So now you can see the books.
Yep.
And you can see my embarrassingly large Twilight collection.
We're
not at all ashamed of.
Nope.
That Twilight book's signed, yo. That's like my most valuable book. We got Douglas Fresh. I love that. It's like he's a man now.
He
like,
is.
Dougie Fresh was just a boy, but not Douglas Fresh. He is a
Fresh.
man. He has a social security. Everyone has a social security. You know what? I'm done with this.
He has a couple chest hairs.
Oh my God, really?
Just a couple.
You know Dan tweezes his.
Does he really?
Yeah, he likes that smooth. I think it's a wrestler thing.
Makes
I
sense.
think they want that, you know?
I could get on board
Because I think
with
the enemies can stick to the hairs.
Or they can pull them out and then it hurts.
Oh, that
right?
would hurt.
So you get to it first before they
And
can
her
get to it.
had Heather. So Heather, girl, you started reading Wayward, and I almost read that, but it seemed a little heavy, and I'm just not in a... Of course, I'm reading Nickel Boys, which is kind of heavy, but I've been reading just a lot of, like, trauma dumping on women stuff lately, so I was like, I need a break from that kind of heavy. So now we're just going to read about horrible 60s racism heavy and beating on kids. You know, it's just Thursday.
Standard.
It's just Thursday. Anyway, it's pretty short, though, too. So that's what I'm doing for the Eris challenge. But yes, updating on the Goodreads.
Yes.
Goodreads had all these bonus challenges, and once I finish the Nickel Boys, which I'm halfway through, I will have gotten all of them.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You set out with a goal, and you did everything you could, and you're going to meet that goal. And I'm really proud of you.
I feel like it's so weird, like with our Beth. I'm getting used to it. It's weird.
I like it.
I like it too.
I
feel like I look tall.
I feel like we look like we're truly in a library.
This is because cats is the thing, and also my boobs are there, but I was talking about the cats.
The cats.
Yes.
You try to match your top to something in one of the stories, and there's a cat in one of the books that we read.
Yeah.
I picked out snake earrings because in that same book, one of the characters is afraid of snakes. So.
Yeah, Heather, let me see. I'll pull up. Where is all... I am so out of it today. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I also read a book just like it, even in 3 different time periods, called The Bewitching this year. So I think that's the other reason why I'm putting it off. But yeah, and then the Reformatory, which Heather mentioned. I'm actually reading a book that's based on the same school. So there's a school... It wasn't even a school. It was like a juvenile detention center, but they beat and killed and did horrible things to the children there. So some of them were as young as 3. Mm-hmm. But I'm reading Nickel Boys, which that one got the Pulitzer Prize, and that's more of just a straight-up drama. And then the Reformatory is by Tananarive Due, and that's a horror fiction. And she actually had an uncle who, I believe, died there. So that's I really want to read the Reformatory.
I don't.
Oh, Time Capsule. I thought Doug was talking to himself. I was like, wow, like getting a little confused there, my friend.
I was a little confused too.
Okay. Oh, I think I figured it out now. I'm figuring all these things in life. Okay. That's not what we want. What is it?
I can't see anything without my glasses on. I have to put them on. I was trying to not have them on so that they wouldn't
If you keep taking off your glasses, then no one's going to have a bet to take you to prom.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Well, that's true.
Well, I just can't see anything. Yes, Farpoint Station, Douglas Fresh, and Time Capsule TV are like Superman and Clark Kent.
I mean, are they? No.
I mean, it's the closest.
A little bit. Which one's which?
He's such a dork.
Okay, I think oh my goodness. This live stream is the best.
I love that sample user. Thank you.
Thank you, sample user. Okay, I am past. We're moving, guys. All right, these are like the boxes and stuff. You're just be happy you didn't have to help us move. Okay.
But here we are. We're doing it.
Gosh, that's hard. Moving.
Yeah, it was. This was hard, but you did it.
We're actually in the same room. We just twisted it around, so now you can see spiders. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
And books and spiders. That's what we do here.
That's all we need.
We also have a video that I'm almost done editing, so there's gonna be more content here. But welcome. If you have not subscribed, I'm sure you already have. But if you haven't, please do. And then like make your nana and your neighbor and a whole bunch of other people subscribe because we gotta build it up.
Yeah, it's brand new. It's just a baby.
Brand new. So let's see. What did we read this month?
We read 3 books. We were going to read 4 books, but then we decided to do something different. So we read The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward.
Oh no, we practiced this. And then we read. We practiced. Oh my gosh, it's so tiny.
It is tiny.
It was by...
We read They Bloom at Night by Trang.
That's it.
Tran.
We actually do care about pronouncing her name right because we have much respect for her.
Yes.
We're just stupid and Americans.
We did our best.
We tried. We had to watch a video.
Yeah.
So
we did it.
The effort was there. The brain power and the language skills, maybe not so much. Mm-mm. So, but yes. Anyway.
And we read
It's a baby for the wing. It's just a baby.
We read The Fourth Wing by Rececca Yarros or Yarros. I don't know how you would pronounce
I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh my gosh.
It's like locked. Oh, there we go.
It was not doing it. Did you see that?
I did.
I don't even know which one we want to talk about first. I wanted to give an update too.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're almost God, this year has been going by so fast. We're almost halfway through the year. My goal this year is 120 books, and I'm at 45.
Nice job.
Just like that's more books than I read in like the 5 years before book club.
Yeah,
like all together.
We're really you're overachieving, but I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. My goal for this year was 12 books, and I've read 11.
That's really good. You're almost there.
I'm almost there.
And
if I read
retire.
no more books, then I've met my goal for the year.
Ow.
Yeah.
Wait, did I want that over my ear? Maybe I did. I don't know. No, I did. I want them to match.
So we read these 3 books, and
so yeah, we need to do 4,
mm-hmm.
but 4. Now that we're both trying to read all the books,
mm-hmm.
and even for me, 4 is a lot. So it's simple
mm-hmm.
now. I pick one, she picks one, mm-hmm. and you guys pick one.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
That's our
system.
So
the people who haven't picked in the chat are my little sister Jessica.
Jessica, pick a book.
And Horrorhead Heather.
Heather, it's your turn.
All right. So which book do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about Last House on Needless Street last.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Fourth Wing first, I guess.
Okay.
Does that sound all right to you?
So the Fourth Wing, this was like a whole thing on Book Talk, which I don't even really know what Book Talk is. I think it's people talk about books on TikTok, and for some reason that's a bigger deal than talking about it on any other social media.
It's
like they're trying to make Bookstagram work, but it's not trying to make Bookstagram work.
Yeah. So it's very popular, super popular. It's about a girl, and she's very smart. She's supposed to go into record keeping or something. I forget what they call it. She's going to be a
scribe.
A scribe, that's what it's called. But her mother is a very prominent general. She gets thrust into this. They're in a college.
It's like a military college.
Yeah, like a military college, and she gets thrust into dragon writing and stuff. So it's fantasy. It's romance. It's a lot. So this is going to be I think there's going to be...
They call it romantasy now.
Romantasy? Okay, great, cool. I think there's going to be a total of 5 books in the series.
I think that's what I read too.
The 3rd one was just published and released a month ago. So there's going to be 2 more books after that one. And this is the first book in that series. What do we think about it?
So just a little more on the plot. So yeah, she is really, really tiny. She does have a disorder. You know what it's called.
I do. Ehlers-Danlos.
She has that, and she's been sick most of her life. She's tiny and she's short. A writer should be well-muscled and tall. She is not cut out to be a writer. She was trained as a scribe by her dad. Her dad is dead now, and her older brother, who died in the war, and her older sister were both writers, and her mother is like one of the best writers of all time, and the general. So now her mom's put her into this. She doesn't really know why, but she's determined that she's not going to let her physicality set her back, that she's going to prove that she can do it. And she's doing that largely by just kind of using her own smarts. So you go through this trial, and then hopefully you survive, and then you bond with the dragon. And if you bond with the dragon, you can pull from the dragon's power, and then you might have your own power. And then when you graduate, then you help them with this ongoing war against these other humans who ride griffins. Does that about sum it up?
Yeah, you did a great job. Way better than I was going to do. Yes, that's perfect. So you learn a lot about like her, and she's got like her old friend who's there. But like, so that first year when they're in this program, you're not allowed to talk to anybody. So she can't write to her mom. She can't write to her sister. She hasn't heard from her friends who are in this program. What's her one friend's name?
Rhiannon?
No, the guy.
Dane,
yeah. He's like her childhood
I just
friend.
finished this the other day. You asked me next week, and I don't know.
That's okay. So she, there's this whole political turmoil. There's this group of people. They're the children of this faction of people that they were fighting against in a previous war.
For some reason, there was a rebellion, so a lot of the other people from their world rebelled. And one of the toughest guys there, his father was killed by our main character, Violet's mother. So everyone's like, yeah, he's gonna kill you. But he is also part of the faction that killed her brother.
Yes.
So we're setting up an enemies to lovers thing here. And you guys know where that's going. It's enemies to lovers. It tells you in the description.
Yeah.
So I think with this one, just because I think the weakest act in this is Act 1, and both of us were ready to DNF this thing.
Yep.
So we did both like it. I'm going to tell you I recommend it, but I'm going to get all the stuff I don't like about it out of the way first, so then we can get into the things we really like, which are more in the second and third act.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah. So when I first started it, both of my bosses at my place of employment were reading the third book when I picked up this one. They're like, oh my God, you're going to love it. I started reading it, and I was already like, oh my God, I can't handle it. It's all tropes. It's just trope. I was like, she's meek. Like, I don't care about a meek character. Like, I don't want to have to do that.
I've talked to you about this a lot. Like, for me, that doesn't really bother me, because sometimes you need a character. Like, I think Carrie's a cool character, and she's very physically meek. But then she's more powerful later on. Sometimes it works.
And I think
but
it works here
in YA.
Too. Yeah,
it's a trope.
It's a trope.
It's Bella. It's Bella all fucking over again. There's with Bella, who was, I think, the one who kind of started it. We had the clumsy, bookish girl, and then every single one of them did. Not just even in paranormal romance, and the fantasy ones. Like, after, it's the same character. She's bookish and she's clumsy. Yeah. And in this, she's not necessarily clumsy, but she's extremely fragile. Yes. And of course, she's bookish and the smartest one there, and a little bit snarky. And I'm just like, her personality is exactly pretty much Triss from Divergent. On top of that, there is a douchey blonde guy who just for no reason wants to kill her from the beginning, which is a lot like Caius from Hunger Games, where they have to all kill each other, but for some reason he's got a hate on for Katniss. Yeah. And it wasn't a trope when Hunger Games did it, not as bad. But then we had the same thing with Miles Teller. It's the character Miles Teller plays in the movie. I can't remember the name of the character in the book, but his character in Divergent, who just wants to kill Triss for no flippin' reason. Yeah. And so I'm reading this, and I'm just like, you just took a whole bunch of things from a bunch of other YA books that are exactly like this. Even, with Divergent had the whole thing where they're cast into different things. And that became a trend because of Harry Potter, which started it with all the houses. And so that's this too. Like, you're a writer, or you're a scribe, or you're this thing.
And they're clearly divided by like these traits and whatever. And so the first 20% of this book, I was like, I don't know if I can get through this. But then you get to like the 35% mark. And I think I even said something on Goodreads. I was like, okay, snap, here we go. I'm in it. And then, like, once we got there, I was, like, in it. And I did truly enjoy it. But it's very tropey, even towards the end of it.
What are some, just so we can get it all out, like, what else did you not like?
There's that last little bit where, like, all the romance part of it happens. And I got it. I have my own hang-ups with romance. I used to read a lot of romance.
The way, I'm going to interrupt you here. I'm working on this.
Okay.
I'm a work in progress. But... we read a book. I read a book called Bride last year, and that's where I learned about nodding. It's a werewolf thing. Google it. Don't tell my sister though.
Don't do it.
It has a sequel.
Oh, great.
And it's different characters, so you don't have to have read the first one. It's called Mate, and it's coming out this year. I'm picking it. I'm picking it when it comes out.
Cool, got it.
I know there's going to be nodding in it.
When we get to the romance part of this book, I got it. I was like, this is really hot. Good for them. But a lot of the writing of it, I got over it pretty quickly. And I was like, and at that point, too, I was really invested in the story. I was like, I want to know what's going on here. I don't care about them doing this anymore. Like, I want to move on to other things. So that was my only other real hang up. It's
another
really
part
tropey.
You're talking about, I think what they were trying to do there is they're really trying to get them that ultimate high before we hit that part in every book, which is the darkest moment, right before the end. You have this moment, the all hope is lost moment. And so you know you're doing that because in any romance, that's where they break up.
Yeah.
And you know that's coming. And so I think that's what they're trying to do. It didn't bother me as much, but what did bother me about the romance is you can call it from the beginning, it's a fucking love triangle, which again, like Twilight kind of set that up, even though originally, I talk about Twilight a lot. Twilight wasn't originally supposed to have a love triangle. It was supposed to be one book originally, and then her publishers were like, hey, develop this Jacob Black guy a bit. And, you know, I'm glad they did that because I liked it. But then Hunger Games had one. Like, all of these book series have these fucking love triangles because they knew that everyone would be like Team Edward or Team this or whatever. And, pardon me, I'm so burpy. You burped me. You're such a good friend.
I need a cloth.
Sorry, I just kissed you. And usually these love triangles, you kind of know. Like, I never doubted for a second that Bella was going to end up with Edward. Like, I thought it was the stupidest fucking thing. Actually, Hunger Games, I wasn't entirely sure. Yeah. Hunger Games, though, I will say, and I know Heather's rereading this for her book club right now, which you guys should check out. We are the Weirdos Book Club. But Hunger Games, I think they did a good job with the love triangle where it's not so much about which guy it is, it's which political ideal is she. You know, we have Peeta, and if she chooses a life with Peeta, she's choosing she's choosing peace.
She's choosing hope.
And Peeta's nonviolent, and he believes that, you know, whereas Gale it's about the greater good. It's okay if people die for the greater good. We're going to, which is honestly how most, I think, American people are. Yeah. You know, a lot of people are like, well, it's for the greater good. You know, it's okay if there's casualties. You know, we need change. But that's what the life with Gale was. And so, Hunger Games gets a pass, I think. But Fourth Wing, it's the same old shit. Yeah. I was never thinking that she was going to end up with Dane. It seemed pretty obvious in the beginning. Here's the other complaint. It's predictable. Not all of it. When it gets good, we get twists. But I'll tell you things I called the moment they were introduced. Like, I'm not saying 2 sentences later. I'm saying the moment it was written. I'm like, so the Black Dragon's the rarest one. That's the one she's going to get. Yeah. Did not call that she was going to have any other alterations to that. Yeah. But I knew that. I knew she was going to end up becoming the most powerful person. When I found out about the powers, I'm like, I bet she has a really powerful offensive power. Yeah. She does. She does. I bet she's going to end up with Xaden. She does.
I did call the ultimate cliffhanger I had a feeling about.
Yeah, that's a big one. So we won't spoil that just yet.
We won't. We don't even have to spoil it at all because I feel like that's kind of the big thing with these books is each book has like a huge cliffhanger at the end where you're like, oh my God, I have to read the next one. So the one that was at the end of this one, I had a feeling about from the very beginning. I was like, I don't know about this. And then in the end, I was like,
which is good. I didn't call that one.
But I still loved it. And I loved all those other little twists at the end, all the political things that go on. The world is really cool.
So let's talk about the writing a little bit. What'd you think of the writing?
I give it like a 3. Like, it's fine. It's easy.
I think it's very easy to read. However, I thought with the action scenes And the trouble is she has fantastic world building, which is one of the things I love about this book. Fantastic world building. But when you are creating something from nothing, I've never seen the Gauntlet before. I'm going to need a few more details here so I can visualize that. I had a really hard time visualizing it. Somebody actually made a video of it on TikTok, and I was like, oh, that's what it looks like. Okay, thank you. And I don't usually have that issue because usually fantasy authors explain probably more than they need to. She's pretty succinct in this, but I could have used a lot more description for some of these things that I have no basis for. She has a whole new world here. The map is nice, but I would like more details. How much is it like our own world?
Her descriptions are pretty simple. Which I think I also had a problem with. Like, I am used to reading, fantasy like Tolkien, where he talks about the trees for 4 pages. And
he has his own language for the elves.
You don't need that, but, like, a little more. Like, even with, like, the romance part of things, I felt like it got really repetitive. And I was like, I don't know, I just felt like it could have been.
I noticed like a lot of her descriptions repeat, which it's hard, especially if that's one you love. This is also 650 some odd page book. It does not need to be this long. Honestly, if I was her friend or her editor, I'd be like, that first act, you can cut that probably down by half. Also think she should have written this in third person. All these YA books write in first person, and then they do, a lot of them, like Twilight, they do this thing where they're like, oh, do you want to see it from the guy's point of view? If that's an issue, write it in third person and then choose your chapter based on who has the most exciting point of view. Yeah. You could even stay with one character like in the Harry Potter books and keep it in third person. I just feel like in general, unless your character has a particularly interesting voice or they were unreliable, like in a book we're going to get to later, and Violet's not, she's the same pick-me girl I've read in all these YA books. She is not at all different than them. No, she's I don't need her voice.
The most reliable narrator of anything I've ever read.
This could have been in third person. Easy. The writing would have been a lot better. One of the descriptions she says repeatedly, she'll be like, their voice, like it was dragged over gravel. I'm like, oh wow, everybody's got this gravelly voice. There's also another trope, which is she's trying to present it like a flaw. Because Violet's so tiny, and she's so short, and she's so fragile, but you know that, honestly, I think it would have been more edgy if Violet was too big to be a writer, if she was too thick, if she was too overweight. But she's going with cute and little because it's cute, and she's perpetuating a lot of these really bad stereotypes that people keep seeing in these books. Same thing with Xaden.
I was going to say not just for women, but
all
for
these
men,
books,
too.
The guy's like 6'5", ripped to all hell, super stoic, super broody. Like her human characters are so just tropey.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like, it's worth.
I sound so mean.
And also, like, I'm trying to remember too. Like, this isn't her first book. She has other books that she's written.
She came to this from romance, though.
Right. So, but there are other books in this series, and so I'm hoping maybe with the second and the third book, she like cleans some of that up.
Well, and I just said I wanted to get the bad stuff out first. I have a lot of good things to say. I just want to make sure I got all that out first. I think I got it out. The book changes and becomes really good once we get... Did I lose everybody? I feel like everyone's being really quiet. And I'm burping more.
Here we are.
Our White Claws are making me burp.
I know. It's okay. It's a new channel, too.
Maybe the channel's making me burp.
Maybe
the burping is scaring away everybody.
It's gassy.
Oh my gosh. I'm blaming it on the dog.
Okay.
Or the spider.
Love it.
So, once the dragons are introduced, then it's like, and I'm not even a dragon girly. I can't even think of that many books I've read with dragons in them.
I've read a lot of books with dragons in them.
Once the dragons are introduced, then it gets really, honestly, guys, this book series, I kind of wish it was from the point of view of the dragons.
That would be cool.
That would be so much more interesting. All the boring parts would be gone. The dragons have romances too. The dragons, the only thing more powerful than the bond between a writer and their dragon, because they are so powerful they exchange energy, and that's how the human gets a signet, which is like a power drawn from the energy of the dragon mixed with their own identity. But the only thing more powerful than that is the mating between, if a dragon chooses a mate, they can't even be apart for very long. I think that is so much more interesting than anything with Violet. Yeah. I would rather her be a side character in Tarn's story. This dragon who, he had a writer. Yeah. He passed away, and they have a hard time getting over that. A human can't even survive their dragon dying. Yeah. They will die too. They'll perish. But the dragon just will be really heartbroken. And he has a mate who is the dragon. Her name's Sigale. She's the dragon of Xaden, which is the enemy of Violet. But, then he sees Violet, and, you can see why he's drawn to her. She's really courageous, and the big thing that sets it off is everyone's teasing Violet because all the dragons come out, and you walk around, and it's actually... One other thing I can say for this book that's really cool, it has a massive body count. I swear 100 people die every chapter.
Oh my god. There's people who died, I was like, oh, this is going to be a cool character. Dead. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, well, don't get attached.
Don't get attached. Like, a lot of them, don't try to remember everyone's names. The ones that are important will come back, and a lot of them are going to die. Like, Riddick. Heather mentions Riddick. Riddick was really cool. I did like him. So, the dragon thing, they basically say, we want you to just kind of walk this track and talk to each other, because the dragons are reading them.
Yeah.
And if they don't like you, if they think you're weak, or they just, for whatever reason, don't like you, they will just scorch you on the spot, and you're instantly just incinerated. Yeah. And you just gotta keep walking like it's not a big deal. You cannot overreact, or you're gonna upset the dragons. At one point, Violet's got dragons sniffing all over her, and she's like, we know she's not going to get eaten. Another reason not to write these in first person. We know
she can't
she's
die
not going to get eaten
right away,
but her sister put dragon scale armor, scales underneath her armor, so they smell it. And she's like, oh, no, it's for my sister's dragon. He molted. It's
I have
fine.
Permission.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of checking them out, and the human can usually tell too, like if they have an attachment to a particular dragon. But the dragon is ultimately the one who chooses the human.
The dragons have a lot of power. They have their own cultural structure. There's a lot to the dragons. It's very complex and cool. I could have learned. I wanted more of them as well.
Okay, Adam, honey. There is a whole book genre of people boning dragons. In fact, subsection of that drama, I remember one book where COVID became human, and a lady bumped uglies with that.
Wait, what?
It's a book. COVID turned into a man, and he got it on a lot. So that is not this book.
I have so many problems with people.
Danny kept trying to ask me. He's like, "So she gonna fall in love with the dragon?" I'm like,
"No,
calm down, dude.
Not this one.
Calm down.
Not this one."
So the dragons are really, really interesting. I loved Tran. I saw someone fan casted his voice as Idris Elba, and I love it.
Yes,
so much. And so they're all teasing. They're teasing Violet because there's a tiny dragon. It's a feathertail. Nobody knows anything about feathertails. I won't tell you anything about them because I'm going to keep that kind of fun for you. But it's glittery gold. This thing has no...
it's conspicuous.
It's very conspicuous.
Yes. And
it's tiny, and it's not even strong enough to carry a rider, and everyone's like, "Oh, that should be yours, Violet." A lot of the people decide they're going to go kill the dragon because it's weak, and Violet decides to go defend it because even though dragons will take out the weakest of the humans, it's basically considered kind of a gift that the dragons are even willing to work with the humans because dragons are stronger than griffins and they are bigger than griffins. So without the dragons, the humans would be screwed.
They're not going to win any war. They're definitely
So the
screwed.
dragons make the rules. So she's like, no way are you killing this dragon. She tries to defend him, and that's what really... first Sigale sees it, and then obviously she tells her mate Tran, and then he's like, nope, I choose you, Pikachu. And... Again, Tran should be the main character.
I agree, yeah.
So there are some twists and stuff in that. I won't give away too much of that. But then she becomes a writer. And, there's powers and stuff, which is cool. The powers, I think, are actually really good. It did remind me of things like Twilight, where all the vampires have powers. But I do think the powers, because in Twilight, too, their powers are tied to their personality, which is what they are here, too. But I do think these were better thought out.
Yeah, you decide, who you are decides, but sometimes you don't have control over them.
If you don't get a power, your body will melt down and overheat and you'll die. Yeah. If you get telekinesis, they will kill you because you're security risk. Yeah. That was really upsetting. Some of the powers will come out wrong. Yeah. And you might freeze yourself to death or burn yourself to death. It's just kind of it's like extreme X-Menism.
Yeah, it's really intense.
It's really, it's a lot. And there's other things, too. Like, your dragon may pick you, but the bond is pretty weak in the beginning. So, a lot of times, if you fall off your dragon, they just let you fall to your death. Bye. Oh, well. And other times people will kill the newly bonded because they didn't bond with the dragon, and before the bond's strong enough, they want to bond with your dragon.
So there's not necessarily enough dragons for all of the riders.
Yes.
So people, it's really, really competitive.
So there's like 1 billion people dying.
There's people who are in like their 3rd year and don't have a dragon.
One other thing I liked about this, I have read a lot of these YA books and I enjoy them. That's why I keep reading them. I just want some more. I want to get away from some of these tropes. But I will say a lot of these books, as much as they tout their romance and stuff, they're usually not going to give you much more than a kiss, or they might do a fade to black love scene. They're not usually willing to like go full in. Like, I swear, like, I don't need, well, actually I do, because like, I don't watch porn. I read it like a lady. But
so classy.
But Twilight, we rated like 4 books for them to do it, and it's just like they fade to black, and then the room's all broken. You're like, wait, how do you do that?
Yeah. Well,
like,
we
why were there feathers everywhere? Why were there feathers everywhere? That's not what happens when a pillow breaks. Edward would have to like bite into it and go like a little dog. Like, I need details, not because I'm a pervert. Because I just need to know what happened. I just need to know what happened. How did the dresser break?
Well, we find out in this book. We get all the details.
So that's one thing I like. Like, if they would have faded to black, I'd been like, wait, the room's destroyed, but the bed isn't. You find out. So, yeah, there are, and it's also not like something, I am annoyed when I feel like a book becomes erotica, which I would say the difference is when it's very explicit sex scenes and they are the biggest thing in the book. Like, I really liked Bride, but I would say every other chapter there's a really big sex scene and the whole plot stops. And it got really old after a while. So I think Bride should have been classified as erotica first, then paranormal romance. This is primarily an action story with romance, and I don't think I would qualify it as erotica in the slightest. It just has it has 2 sexy sex scenes.
I also feel like the spiciness, the sexiness of this book is still important for the plot. Like, as annoyed as I was, like, it made sense for the characters and their relationship and their path. I was like, okay, like, I get it, and it's good. It's
also crazy because the dragons can feel what their riders feel, and the humans can, like, when they're at one point there's a scene where their dragons are both boning and they're basically like smoking something, so because they can block it out. That's pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, I didn't think it was too much. I thought it fit with what was going on in the story and the progression of things, so I agree with that.
There was just some of the language at the end of like
they are chatty when they bone.
Oh, yeah,
like,
they talk a lot.
They talk so much. I would be like, shh, this is quiet time.
I think that's why I got so irritated. Their dialogue when they're boning.
They talk so much.
Like, come on. Wrap it up. Get it over with. I don't care.
It reminded me of that Sex and the City episode where she goes out with Burger and he won't shut the fuck up. Yeah. I'm just like, shh, quiet time.
We're enjoying ourselves right now. I do want to talk a little bit with this book specifically about how cool... I want to answer Adam's question. They get a harness for it, but I'm not going to tell you what. Yeah, you have to find out. You should read it. I do really love the way that the world is built. The world building in this book is really cool. I want to know so much more about the geography, the political stuff, the other enemy that we meet later, like the fairy tale stuff. I want to know everything about what's going on in this world, and she does a really good job at like not giving you everything at once, right? Like we're learning things along with Violet, and she doesn't know what everything means, so she's like figuring it out along the way, and I really did like that part about the book. I will continue to read the series.
I will too. I do wish they had it, because in the beginning I was kind of confused, like, okay, who's their enemy? Yeah. I feel like I didn't find out a lot about what was going on in the world. The interesting stuff that was unique to the book, she puts it in later, and I know when it comes to fantasy writing, fantasy authors are always told, do not front load your book with a lot of world building, but sometimes it does work. It works in the Lord of the Rings books, and here I think that would have been way more interesting than little tiny Violet trying to do all these things, but she's just got so much gumption. Like, I just didn't care. I think I would have rather like heard about like their war and stuff, or even you know, starting with, I have a feeling her being called to be a writer, like her mom making her do that, had something to do with her brother's death. They could have even started with, like, her finding out that her brother died or something. Like, and then they could tell us about the war and the rebellion and stuff that way.
Start it back a little bit further.
And I think we would have cared, like, maybe even a prologue.
Yeah.
I think we would have cared a little bit more because we never met her brother.
Yeah.
So finding out that her brother's dead, he was killed by the rebellion.
Yeah,
then when
like,
you get to
who
this
is this
college
guy?
and you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's the son of the guy who led the rebellion? Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't even know what the rebellion was for. I'm kind of still confused.
I still don't really know either. But
I think I have a
there's
theory
more
now
books.
based. There's a. I said it was predictable, and I'm only going to say that for the first act.
Yeah.
There are really good twists in here. There's some unexpected deaths, unexpected character developments. There's a huge twist at the end that I didn't see coming. So she did. She did. So, yeah, I wish, I don't understand entirely. I have theories based on what one of the big twists was in the third act, what they were rebelling against. But, and I also think, you know, this book, I know it's been it's already starting to get that kind of Twilight hate, you know, because whenever women as a group really like something, everybody has to shit on it, which I don't like. I'm being critical because I think it's art and it is worthy of criticism. I'm not being critical because it's something that women like.
Yeah.
There is a huge difference. But one of the things I think that we can kind of interpret from this book is a lot of the stuff that's going on with our own political environment, like whether or not we can trust our government to actually, like believe what they're telling us, and whether or not they're going to keep us safe.
To tell us who the enemy truly is, like, why is this person our enemy? What are we...
Think about things like Vietnam and stuff, where people are like, what are
we fighting for?
Exactly.
What's
Absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
Yeah, I love how we both went with
every time.
the Tom, what's his book? Tom Jones.
Yes. Yeah. So, I asked both of my bosses at work if we get more of the stuff that I liked about the book in the second and third one, and they said yes as well. Same as Heather said, that Iron Flame answers a lot of the questions, because that's all I want to know. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah,
in that world.
If they ever do a freaking version, and then another thing I would say that I didn't particularly care for, which they always do in these fucking books, because again, I'm not saying there's a time and a place for first person. First person leads to a lot of bad writing, though. Namely, you have people who just wander off on tangents in their head. They don't describe the world a lot. When action happens, they're not very helpful in telling us what's happening because people are not observing everything. There's a lot of reasons why this book should not have been written in first person.
Yeah.
And another one of those is the last chapter is all of a sudden this whole book has been first person from Violet's point of view, and then we get a Xaden chapter. I'm like, what the actual holy fuck? Like, lady, write it in third person.
I think first person is easier, right?
It's natural because, like, when I tell you what I did at work today,
Exactly.
I said I did this, I did that, but
it's
as
harder.
an author, you should think consciously about what you are doing. For instance, I mentioned I'm reading The Nickel Boys. It's in a very unique version of second person, where it's like saying, basically it sounds like someone telling you their story. It's, but it's not in first person, which is usually people would go with first person, and it's like, it really much sounds like someone's telling you a story.
Yeah, I like it.
So, but yeah, I just think it should be a conscious decision, and unfortunately with YA, it's the default.
Yeah.
And I do not think that's a wise choice.
Yeah. You can get a lot more out of a story if you can branch it out a little bit.
Can you
more.
imagine how much worse the Harry Potter books would have been in first person?
Oh my god, it would have been
They
so
would have
annoying.
been insufferable.
There was even times where I was like, Harry, if you don't get your shit together, I am quitting this book.
Exactly.
But
and then we also had great villain chapters that otherwise, like, what would they do? Like, oh, come on. Like,
what
are you
gonna do?
And I love the Harry Potter books, but they would have not been as good in first person.
No, they would not have.
Likewise, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Don't put those in third person. That actually is a big adventure series and stuff, but it is important that Carl does not know everything. And we will only learn anything as Carl knows. We very rarely get a third person point of view chapter or one from another character's point of view. They are very secretive in how they spread things out. However, none of the other protagonists ever get a chapter. Donut doesn't. Nobody else does. So if she needs Xaden to tell us stuff, then to me that's saying you need to write this in third person.
Yeah.
I would have loved a chapter from Tarn's point of view.
Yeah.
Violet's honestly, not always the best character to be telling you every chapter. There are some chapters where she is the most interesting character and she should be telling us it, but sometimes Xaden is. Sometimes I still do not know why that one guy hated her.
Yeah, I don't either.
Never knew why. A chapter from his point of view would have been nice.
Yeah.
I would love more chapters from Tarn's point of view. Yeah, I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but yeah, I truly think the series should have been in third person.
Yeah, I think it would have given it a lot more depth. Yes.
Is YA like horror in that there are a lot of people who see an easy way to make a buck? You know, I honestly would say no. I think horror being an easy way to make a buck is a movie concept. Books are hard to write. Movies are hard to get made, but even then, a lot of people have opportunities to make films, and they think, okay, horror is easy to do on a budget. It's easy to bring back your investment on. When it comes to literature, even self-publishing, it is really, really hard to A, finish a book, and B, develop an audience in any genre. Literature is a lot different genre-wise than books are, because I would say the most popular author of our generation that's currently living is Stephen King. So that makes it a completely different playing field in literature than movies, because none of us are ever going to be freaking Stephen King. So yeah, there is a high precedent with horror, and I do think, even though there are debut authors and all kinds of things, I think what happens in literature is it goes through trends. Right now, romantasy is the big trend. So I do think publishers in general, they're like, okay, romantasy is big right now. Let's greenlight all these romantasy books. I think when something's popular, it inspires more people. And I also think whenever there's a trend, people read something that they really like, and then they almost kind of fan fiction something else that's similar. And when those things are popular, they get published more.
Yeah, and brought into the spotlight. People are like, oh, well, if you like this, you might like this,
but yeah, cheaper. Honestly, just self-publishing is cheaper.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these books that are printed by these big corporations, they have a lot to lose, because honestly, a lot of books just don't bring in the money that like movies do. Book talk and stuff is like a whole other thing, and that's why they follow these trends, because like book talk got the whole romantasy thing going. So you know,
people like it. Well,
yeah, horror isn't doing super well as far as trends go right now. Something I'm always looking into is what are the trends. Horror hasn't been super big literature wise since the 80s with like the height of Stephen King. You know, the early 2000s we had the big paranormal romance and urban fantasy. Now we're in the romantasy. The biggest, interestingly enough, the best-selling genre of all time, from Jane Austen days to today, it has never been knocked off the #1 spot, unlike with film, is romance. Romance is the best-selling genre of all time. You can Google it.
I believe it. I mean, you walk into like any store, like I when I was younger, I read Harlequin novels like there was no tomorrow. My grandma had shelves and shelves and shelves of them, and it was like all I could do was just read. And they were fun. I had a good time.
And literature is also something different too, whereas in film, and we're getting into like some other topics here, but film has always been considered kind of a boys' club, and that's why it's important that we highlight female directors and stuff, because it's very hard for them to get the same opportunities that men do. However, a lot of people are like, oh wow, Jane Austen and Charlotte Bronte, they were such trailblazers. No, they weren't. At the time, when Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte, you know, the Bronte sisters, Mary Shelley, literature was not widely respected. Fiction, like nonfiction was, if you were somebody who was learned and you wrote a book about it, that was cool. But if you were writing fiction, that was considered almost like crochet. Yeah. It was something that you...
like a hobby.
It's a hobby. It's cute. It's not anything that is super prestigious. It's not anything that's going to make you money. At the time, the best thing was owning like property, and women couldn't even do that. So your wife or your sister or whomever writing a novel, that's great, as long as she's keeping busy and she's happy. Yeah. It was not prestigious at all, and that's why we had so many great female writers back in the day, and that's also why romance was the #1 genre back in the day.
Yeah. I like it.
A little bit of history for you.
I love it.
Even though it's probably really boring.
No, not at all. I don't think it is at all.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting how like now I think books are really having a good moment right now. So that's
I think
cool.
they are too. I think they're making like a resurgence. Like it all just depends on like what's going on.
And I think the other thing too is I think back in the day they kind of were like, well, what's the point? It can't feed you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay for anything with it. But I think stories, and at the time those were the only stories we had. But I think stories are important. Not maybe as important as, you know, food and stuff, but I think stories give us the energy and ability to kind of get through things. Like some people, you know, I think that's why religion is so important. A lot of religion is a collection of stories.
Absolutely.
Which tell us how to behave, how to survive, tell us how to get through hard times.
Also, like, helps you practice a little bit of, like, empathy, right? Like,
exactly.
Especially when we get into the Last House on Needless Street, there's so much empathy there. Like, you really have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes in a situation where you wouldn't normally be. And it helps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that helps us to kind of feel maybe a little less alone. So I think especially back in the day, it was kind of treated like crochet. It was something like it's keeping the ladies busy. But I think the reason why literature has persisted, and even though everything is becoming so much more technological, and sure, the way we're reading books is changing, but stories themselves are timeless. And it's because we need stories. Stories, you know, they just help us. I mean, sometimes you can find a book that gets you better than any person has.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not just stories. I think it's however it speaks to you. I tell my son this all the time. For him, it's video games. I'm like, you got to find that book that speaks to you because, you know, it's stories too.
Yeah.
Video games, music, movies.
Video games are really good at stories these days. I mean, like, they're making, like, The Last of Us, right? Like, that video game was crazy.
And they all get to you in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, video games, I think, can actually give you that whole flight or fight feeling. Like,
Absolutely.
when you're playing a horror game, you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're like, wait, it's a game.
It's just a
Calm
game.
down.
I can pause this. I can turn it off.
Same thing with books. You're just like, wait, I can put, to quote Joey, I can put the book in the freezer. It's fine.
Let's put the book in the freezer. Take a break. Okay, well, let's wrap up what we think about Fourth Wing. I think I gave it 3 stars.
I gave it 4 stars.
4 stars. Yeah.
So we are not changing, but we're just kind of formalizing. Essentially what we do for our ratings is we're both really kind of type A people, and we love spreadsheets.
We love a spreadsheet.
With lots of coloring on them, like color-coded stuff.
And
so we have a spreadsheet that covers like the characters, the genre goals, the story, the writing, the pacing. It has lots of bonuses in there for like if it's got good representation or if it's memorable, if it had great twists. So we use those, and we have our own kind of rubric for how we do it. And then for Goodreads only has whole stars. So my basically 0 to 1.5 are all kind of put together. And all my standard ones, like 4s are always 4s, but a 4.5 will be rounded down to a 4.
Yeah. So I think, like, for our personal rating system, we talked about keeping it at using half stars.
Because we like a half star.
We like a half star. So in my personal rating of Fourth Wing, I'll give it 3.5 stars. But on Goodreads, I only gave it 3.
Well, I gave it 4 stars in my personal one, and I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads.
There we go.
Nobody got that reference.
I did. Fresh goes better.
Toes fresh. Oh my gosh. Fresh. That's why jingles are so effective, because I still know all the words.
All these years later. Anyway.
And toes fresh and full of life.
I say read it.
I say read it.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, a 4 I would say it's a very good book. It's not quite a great book. If you guys are curious about our rubrics and stuff, we can even post that on our Goodreads page.
I mean, Gory made them all. It's beautiful. The first time she showed it to me, she was like, I'm really embarrassed about this.
I make spreadsheets
let me show you my spreadsheet. I was like, I am an accountant. I love a spreadsheet.
I'm so embarrassed for my spreadsheet.
And I was like, you have to share it with me. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna put them in
But they're a lot, honey. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's
when I die, people are going to be like, was she a serial killer?
I would love for you to murder me.
I would spreadsheet it.
You would, and I would be like, I need all the data.
Okay, so this is all the ways I've decided, and here's a one for all the potential
Let's
places
make
of hiding the body. Like, if you murdered somebody, like I know what you did last time, murdered somebody, I'd be like, oh, honey, I have a whole spreadsheet on the best places to hide a body.
I love it. What do each of these places have to offer? Like, let's talk about it.
What is our criteria?
Yeah. Love it. Anyways, okay. So, the next book that we would love to talk to you about.
We talked so much about that book.
We did talk a lot. It's a big
book.
Like,
it was like 600 some odd pages.
Yeah.
She told me, she was like, I'm not going to finish They Bloom at Light. I'm like, girl, I still have... That book is to like 200 pages. I have 200 pages left of the fourth week, and I'm 80% done. So normally I let her off the hook, but this time I was like, no.
Not time. So, okay. They bloom at night.
So I'm a mean friend.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're a great friend. You're kind of a bully sometimes. I'm just kidding.
Bad.
You're not.
I'm a Taurus.
You are. You can't help yourself.
Bully. Like it's in there. Oh my gosh, we're out of White Claw.
You can have the rest of mine. If you want.
Really?
Yeah, go for it.
Ass.
I only had like that much.
It's like water.
It is. It really is. Okay, so we read They Bloom
Normally
at Night.
I have like a glass of wine or something. I'm like, I'm good. We'll switch to water. And we're like, no.
It just goes down so easy.
It just does. It goes right through you like soup.
That
was a Bluesky
practiced
reference. I need to stop doing that. Oh my gosh, I'm breaking everything.
Oh my god, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just really clumsy. See, like,
you're just
that's
like
the
Violet.
reason why.
You're
that's
so
the reason why, like, Twilight and all those ones. Like, I hate it, but then I'm also like, wait a second. I like to read a lot. And I'm really
You're
clumsy.
so meek and bookish and
I'm
clumsy.
the protagonist in a crappy YA novel.
You are.
Actually, I kind of love a lot of them, so I can't even say crappy.
It's true.
Speaking of YA novels.
So, Trang, Tran. Trang, Tran. It's Tran.
Yes.
Tran.
It was good. It was good. We got it. Tran. Okay, Trang, Tran. Yes.
That's the one. They bloom at night.
It's not just that it's a Vietnamese name. It's also a lot of T's, and it's very consonant heavy.
A lot of T's, a lot of N's.
Okay, I like what Adam said earlier. We're calling her Triple H.
Triple H. Love it.
Love it.
We read a book by them. So this author is non-binary. We read a book by them last year called She is a Haunting. It was one of my favorite
also like this one.
books.
Gorgeous cover.
Beautiful.
Like, lady, whoever's doing your covers, or person, whoever's doing your covers.
Beautiful. So this book is about a Vietnamese girl. They live in Louisiana, and there was a hurricane, and this algae has kind of taken over. The hurricane itself also kind of decimated this town called Mercy, but there's also this algae and some weird things are going on.
How much did you want fucking John Stamos to be like, have mercy?
I never thought about it.
I did.
Maybe we could have John Stamos play Jimmy.
Maybe we could just have John Stamos.
Okay, that works too. But I think he could play Jimmy. He could play the bad guy. So our main character, her name is Noon, and she is with her mom, and they're on a fishing boat. Noon's father and brother had died. I don't really know when they died.
They died in some kind of a boating accident, and it's not even clear, like, was it a storm? Was it the algae? The algae is also different. This isn't like the kind that you get in your fish tank. It's red.
It's red.
So it's very strange looking.
Very strange. And
the town's all kind of flooded, and also just being a seaside town, everything's kind of rickety and falling apart. And it's been evacuated. So there's not really anybody there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people.
Something I want to say about this book, unless I'm interrupting you.
Nope.
I didn't. All right. I'm getting better, guys. I can learn. So she, in her afterwards, she thanked, drawing a blank here, I think it's Lori Howells Anderson, who wrote Speak. And I actually think, even though these books on paper are very different, this is a sci-fi body horror, and Speak is, if you haven't read it or seen the movie with Kristen Stewart is very, very good. But it's about a girl who, I think she's like 14, and she was essayed, and she stops speaking until like a teacher and a couple other people kind of help her get to a place where she's able to heal. These books pair very well together. This is kind of the horror version of that story.
Yeah, I can see that. I haven't read that book in a long time. And you learn more about that part of it later. But essentially in the beginning, Noon and her mom are made a deal where they need to find a sea monster. Like, they need to find sea monsters and take them to Jimmy, the guy who's, like, running the town. He runs this, like, emporium of, like, tourism and stuff for the town. But he's kind of like a mob boss, right? Yeah. And so that he tasks them. He's like, you have to go find me a sea monster or I'm going to take your boat.
And the thing he runs specifically is he has like a lot of touristy things. So like he has a gator farm. And so he wants this creature or whatever it is mostly to have a novelty to bring more tourism to the town. Not because he gives a flying crap about helping anybody or stopping the algae.
No, he doesn't. He's there to make a buck.
And at noon, her mother, because she still hasn't quite accepted the deaths of her husband or son, she's obsessed with always being on the water. They're always on the water because she believes that her husband and son are somehow still alive in the water, that maybe they've turned into something or they're part of the sea or she just whatever she can to make them alive.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of obsessed to the point where she's really kind of neglecting Noon.
Yeah, absolutely. They have this whole story about when their ancestors came over about this...
Noon's Vietnamese. I don't
Vietnamese,
know
yes. This deity called Song that's like kind of like an ocean god of some kind, right?
It's like it lives in the sea foam.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of Little Mermaid in this. And I'm not talking the seaweed is always greener. I'm talking like the original Hans Christian Andersen.
It's pretty scary.
Gonna dance your little feet away.
Yeah.
That's some dark stuff. Like, you guys should watch that. But famously, at the end of Little Mermaid, I believe she does turn into sea foam. So that is a big part of that. And yeah, there's a lot of influences in here. And I do think one of the things I really love about Triple H, this author, and that's what I'm calling her now, calling them now, my part of me, is they are writing YA, and I think a lot of authors think, well, I'm writing YA, I don't need to really worry about the writing craft, I just need to tell a good story. They are writing very good. Like, I think this is literary fiction.
It's beautiful.
I think their writing would be up there with like something like Catcher in the Rye. Like for this generation, this is one of the authors who is really delivering strong prose.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. I didn't find this book as captivating as She Is a Haunting. It was crazy. I was like, what is going on? But the writing style, it's just as beautiful. You can feel like the emotions that the characters are feeling. You feel the situation that everybody's in. It's just written
and
no notes.
Both of their novels are written in first person, and these ones I think is absolutely the best choice. Why? Because in both novels, the first one, we have a character who's going into an old family home, and they do not know, is it just me, or is there something wrong with the house? We need that narrator that maybe we can't trust. So that's perfect. In this one, we have a very unique character. So the algae, when people are exposed to it, they begin to kind of mutate. We have a lot of really good body horror in this. That's another thing. YA tends to dial back on the horror, and this one really is not afraid to give it to you.
No.
Which I like. And so yeah, Noon is changing, and Noon isn't quite revealing it all to everybody just yet. Like, oh, it's just a cut, but they know, like, things are growing in their cut. They know that they are slowly mutating, and they don't really know what the outcome of that is going to be. And so if we didn't have that, I mean, you could do it close third, but I do think the inner thoughts of Noon, and especially with an author who is very talented with her prose, it is the best way to go. So I'm not just dogging on first person. Sometimes it's absolutely the best choice, but it should never be the default.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree, because it just depends on your character and your story and what you're trying to do. Like with a book like Fourth Wing, I do feel like you could have gotten so much more depth with that story. Like, we really could have seen so much more of what was going on in the world with that story. But you don't need...
Can you imagine if the Lord of the Rings trilogy was in first person?
No, it would be boring.
It would be so boring if you were stuck with Frodo the whole time. Like,
because
you have a big beautiful world. Let us experience your big beautiful world. And sometimes your main character is not the best tour guide.
Yes,
absolutely. Sometimes you need to let other people take this part of the trek.
But in this book and in She Is a Haunting, like, Noon is a great tour guide. She she tells you all the things. You don't want to be away from her. No, she's where the story is. Not only what she's experiencing, but what's happening within her. Yes.
So this book, I think, as much as I would say I agree with you and I enjoyed She Is a Haunting more, that is definitely the easier read. It's more enjoyable. I think this one, if I was going to write a paper on a book, for instance, like a book report or something, this is the one that's more worthy of analysis, and it's a lot deeper, and it's more... There's more to chew on here.
I agree with that.
There's a lot going on. So I'm going to give you guys some trigger warnings. There is SA in this book. It is not graphic. We do not have a scene of SA. I think that's the way to go, especially with a YA novel, because I don't think we all need to freaking relive the experience to know that it's traumatic.
Yes.
So it is referred to a lot, but we do not ever have a flashback to that scene. Thank you. That's just me thanking the author, because I really am to the point where that's why I was telling Heather earlier, like where I couldn't read Wayward. I've just read so many novels lately of SA against women, and it's just been too much for my head right now. I need a break. I was really glad we didn't have it to that extreme in this novel, but
you get the aftermath.
Yes,
and you get a little bit of like the feeling before, but you're not there for it.
And I also think body horror works best when it does tie to the theme of the novel. So there's a lot of themes here, and they all tie together. So one of the big ones is Noon has never felt like they were a girl. This is a very, very good LGBT novel. It's also got a lot of just good representation all around. I like that the male love interest, because they're pan or bi. The male love interest, like he paints his nails and stuff. I'm really tired of just one kind of masculinity shown in especially YA novels. There's a lot of beautiful things about a man who's in touch with his femininity. I love that. And the female love interest, she's really, really tough. But she loves books, and she's a great shot, and she's a lot of contradictions, just like we all are. She's a person. And that's a lot more interesting than just being clumsy. Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah.
So, Noon had an experience when she was 14, and she was SA'd, and it really kind of messed up her life, and she didn't tell anybody. And so now, on top of already having some body dysmorphia, but feeling that they were never really comfortable in their own body being female, now they're extremely more uncomfortable because they have a lot of issues with their own sexuality. They're going through adolescence, everything's changing, and they have a lot to deal with.
On top of that, they're also dealing with the fact of being like the battle that they're going through with like the brother, right? How like the brother got to go out on the boat, the brother got all these opportunities that Noon just never,
because he's male,
because he's a boy, that she just never got but wanted. And you know,
she felt excluded from the family because their family's a fishing business.
Yeah.
Father never invited her because she's a girl.
But and then she would perpetuate those same kind of ideals, like making fun of her brother for crying because he's a boy, kind of a thing. So it's a lot about like gender roles and kind of breaking out of them.
It's also a big found family book. So a minor spoiler, you do find out that her best friend growing up was this boy that she's always kind of loved, and it was just a safe space for her. And yeah, he likes to paint his nails and stuff. He's also bi. I would say Noon's more pan, but I don't remember if that verbiage was used exclusively in this book. But that's just my interpretation of it. But he's bi, and his parents would not accept that, so he runs away. And she does meet up with him later on, and they also have a trans friend, and I feel like there might have been somebody else too. Well, then there's the
doctor was trans.
The doctor's trans, and then also the love interest. You know, she's lesbian. So we have a lot of LGBT in this. We have an LGBT romance. Lots of different kinds of LGBT too, which is cool. You know, we have a trans character, like and I like that they mention that the character's trans, but it's not like, sometimes a lot of these books get very after school special with it. And I think the best way of showing representation is to do it by showing that, you know, just with anything, with, you know, with different races, different kinds of people, just showing that these are humans interacting with each other. And if I feel like when you make it kind of an after school special type thing, and you make a big like display of it, you're almost kind of othering it. Whereas this book invites you in and you're part of the friend group. And so maybe you've never met a trans person, but like I feel like through this book you do. And you have a trans friend. And then hopefully that will do what so many of these other books that are trying so hard to educate you are not doing by being too direct.
It feels like it's not, like, obviously, like, it's not something I go through, so I can't speak on it that much. But, like, you can be defined by that part of you too, but it's not the whole of who you are,
exactly,
right? Like, that's not the only thing about this character is that they're trans or that they're non-binary. There's so much more going on here that you want to get to know. And then
that's the thing what I liked about this book, because a lot of books would be like, well, it's just enough that she's pan, or that they are non-binary. That's enough. But no, they have also the essay, and they have a lot of other things, just like any other human does. You're not defined by one thing.
The weird relationship with her mom.
Exactly. It's all very, very complex. And I think a lot of books, when they're trying to be inclusive and they're trying to have representation, they're like, but this whole character's whole thing is just that they're trans. And I know a lot of trans people, and that's just not how humans are. You know, it is something that affects your life. I think definitely, like, if you're like any kind of minority, especially like if you live in a town like I live in, where there's not a lot of diversity, that is an issue. But then they have other issues too. You know, they have problems with their parents too. They have loved lives too.
Exactly.
And I think the best way to kind of make people understand different cultures and stuff is to just show them.
Show the whole of
them.
The
whole of them. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Good word.
Thank you. Yes. I want to talk a little bit more about we don't have to go on and on because we still have one more book to talk about, and then we have to talk about our other ones. It's really scary. There's a lot that goes on in this book. It's kind of a slow burn, I felt like, but
kind of reminded me of, like, I mean, not plot wise, but just kind of the vibe of books like The Bay. It's very body horror, like they don't really know what's happening to their body. A lot of, but there's also cute romance. There's cute found family. So
what does the algae do? What's going on there?
I would recommend this to people who are fans of body horror, people who are looking for a kind of a deeper horror novel, something where, especially if you really are like, hey, I love a body horror that actually had some trans characters in it, or non-binary character, or actually showed that not all guys are fucking Zayden from Fourth Wing.
Right.
This is great, because I thought the male love interest in this, the male friend, like, I thought he was very attractive too. I don't need a man who's a foot taller than me and ripped like Schwarzenegger.
Nope.
Like, I
don't need it.
A lot of other kinds of ways to be beautiful in this world, and I feel like in some ways YA novels and romance novels in general are as damaging with the way that they portray men as fashion magazines are with the way they portray women.
I agree with that 100%. A cool thing about the way that this author writes is I read most of this book, but towards the end I was running out of time, so I picked up the book on Audible.
She can listen to books in double speed because she's part robot.
I have to listen to books in double speed.
That's also why she doesn't like me talking to the Alexas.
Bored. Yeah, you have to be nice to the robots.
She's part Alexa.
Maybe I am. The audiobook of this, it was so good. The narrator.
Yeah? Was it the same one from She's a Haunting?
No. I don't know who this person is, but they could do like a standard American accent. They could do a Louisiana Cajun accent. She did a Vietnamese accent.
Wow.
And I was like, and it sounded
read this one.
amazing. It was so good.
That's really cool. Good audio. Like, I pay attention to the ones I really like. So I'm looking it up. It is
narrated
mystery
by. Not gonna be able to say that one.
Yeah, we're gonna type that.
Yeah, but she did such a great job.
I want to say Nido.
Nido.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I'm not good at Vietnamese pronunciation.
The audiobook was amazing, but they write so well too that reading it is like its own beautiful activity.
It's beautiful. I mean, honestly, as far as a lot of YA novels get studied in high school, I think this is one that if I was a high school English teacher, I'd be like, we're going to read this. We're going to read this in class. I think, just like we read books like Catcher in the Rye, or you might read something like To Kill a Mockingbird. I think the writing in this is as strong as that. And I think, A Speak is another one. Unfortunately, because this is body horror, I don't think it's ever going to get a Nobel Prize or anything. But I think there's a lot going on in here.
Yeah.
And I do think, especially if I had I don't even have a teenager anymore. I have
an
it's
adult.
An octogenarian for 80-years-olds. What's it for if you're a 20-year-old?
A ventagenarian.
I don't like it.
No? Okay. He's a 20-year-old. Yeah, I ended up giving this book 4 stars.
I gave it 4 stars.
Look at that.
Look at that.
That's like a solid 4 that you gave it.
I gave it a solid 4. I gave it the last one a solid 4 too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the thing. I think just because books offer different things, neither one is less valuable.
Yeah.
I think Fourth Wing is a more entertaining book. It is better paced. It's got great world building, and it's probably the one I'm going to remember the most. But this is a very artistic book. It's very deep. It has a lot of... When people talk about like a song or a book or something that saved their life, this is the kind of book that could save someone's life.
I agree with
could
that.
see, like, especially if you have a trans child or a non-binary child, this is their book that they need to read. You know of a teenager who's been the victim of SA, this is going to be a really powerful book for them if they're okay with, confronting that stuff.
And like taking back some agency and yeah, it's a good one.
So do we want to talk about the ending?
No.
Let's not. So the ending, I will just say that's one of the parts of it where I'm not sure if I like it or dislike it, but I do think that ultimately the ending very much fits into this narrative of kind of finding out who you are, whether you're transitioning, whether you're discovering your sexuality, whether you're trying to understand your body. And I think that's ultimately what they were going for, is that all this body horror stuff, all this other stuff is ultimately a journey about finding out who you are. And it's not just even who you are in relation to your family, who you are in relation to your friends, no matter how wonderful all those people are. Ultimately, it's your journey.
Who are you?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked it.
I liked it too. Check it out. All the thumbs.
All the thumbs.
Whoa, dude, we're just chugging along.
Yeah, we are. Okay.
The last house on Needless Street. Ba, 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 ba. There's a cat.
This book was bananas.
You remember like those old commercials where like, this is your brain and drugs. This is my brain on Last House on Needless Street.
Absolutely. Scrambled up. I read this book in one day, but I was texting you like halfway through. I was like, what is going on?
When I was reading, I was messaging you. I was like,
yeah.
Dude, you gotta read this. Dude, you gotta read this.
I was like, I don't understand what's happening. I feel like you should give the synopsis of this one. I feel like you're
fine.
Because it's complex.
So we're going to go very, very tiptoe through the tulips, not giving you spoilers. Even though I don't know if you guys are still here because you're being so quiet. Why are you guys so quiet in the new channel? Yeah. Is there an echo here? I don't know. But I'm not going to give you any spoilers until I do. And that's when I'm going to put up the spoiler sign. Yes. Don't worry. You're safe. You're safe. I will say right off the bat, you should read this one.
Yeah.
We honestly had a pretty solid month. So this is of all the books. I also gave it a 4. But this is the highest rated 4 that I delivered.
I gave it a 5.
And honestly, I was pretty dang close. It was pretty dang close to a 4.5. It's okay, Adam. We forgive you. At least you're still here with us, listening intently.
Don't change that channel.
Heather, are you still here? Cats are cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this book, I'm gonna do my best here. So essentially, this presents itself as sort of a crime mystery. We have who is called Little Girl with Popsicle. Lulu was near her home and was abducted or went missing, has not been seen, from the beach. And there was one suspect. It's kind of like that weird guy in town. The last house on Needless Street. That's his house.
Yep.
Kind of a weird guy. But they checked him out. They found no evidence.
And he had an alibi.
He's kind of an odd duck. He was out begging people to buy him candy in front of a 7-Eleven. So we got no suspects anymore. No idea what happened to this girl. What happened in the aftermath of that, she had an older sister who's been pretty wrecked by it, particularly because their father, who already had health issues, passed away. Like it just kind of broke them. And then the mother died too. So they have no family. And now they're kind of obsessed with solving the mystery of what happened to their sister. And they're going back to that only suspect, the last house on Needless Street. They're going to go into the house next door and try to find evidence of either where's the body or is
Just
the sister perhaps still there?
Yes. Where's the proof? What happened?
Where's the beef?
Where is the beef? It's in the freezer.
Was that good?
That was good. Yeah, I love it.
So it gets a little more complicated because the way I'm presenting it to you, you're like, oh, so the older sister's name is Dee. It's presented in 3 different narratives. Again, Catriona Ward thought very carefully about what point of view choices. I'm telling you guys, this is vital.
Yeah.
It's a vital thing for novels. And the choices made her very well. Everything Catriona Ward is doing here is to give you hints.
It's very intentional.
So pay extreme attention. I will say I do not recommend the audiobook. I started the audiobook on this because I think I bought it on sale a while ago. One, the guy who does the audiobook just sounds very well-adjusted and young, so I had a hard time fitting him to the characters. But it just didn't work for me. Pardon me. So burpy today.
It's a like
We're losing so many subscribers.
Just because of your burps.
Yes. We should have an ASMR channel. They love burping.
I was going to say, maybe we're just reaching out to the wrong kinds of people.
Yeah, we should have an ASMR channel.
Yeah. We need to burp people.
Anyway, so there are 3 point of views, and it's all part of Catriona Ward's web she's weaving. So, speaking of, there's Pip. You guys see Pip? Now you can see Pip.
He's so cute. He's God's favorite.
Oh my gosh, I'll show you my new tarantulas later. There's blue up there. So, okay, so the 3 point of views we have Ted Bannerman. Ted Bannerman was the person who was suspected, and they cleared that person. Ted Bannerman is an alcoholic. They live alone. They had a very abusive mother that came over here from a small village in France.
It took me a while to figure out where she was from. I don't think I figured it out until the end when they explicitly told you.
Yeah, it's plus the voice he uses for her. I'm like, that doesn't sound very French.
Yeah.
Don't do it with the audiobook. Nothing against the guy. I don't think it's working for me here.
Well, and
I picture Steve Agee. He played the guy with the dye beard from Peacemaker, but he's also from Sarah Silverman, and he's a comedian. That's who I picture. Lovable, but scruffy.
You can pick up on a lot more of those little hints and what's going on if you read it. If you read
That's
the
thing. There's a ton of language cues. The language is extremely intentional. So when the same words are used in this, it's not because she's not creative. It's because she's giving you a hint. It's a puzzle. There are 2. There are probably more than that. My son would probably say, because he's a mystery-obsessed person, that there are more than that. But I would say largely there are 2 kinds of mysteries. The kind of what the fuck is going on mystery, and then there's the whodunit. And this is a what the fuck is going on mystery. I'm going to tell you from the get-go, if you are going into this as a murder mystery, you're not going to like this book. Of the reviews I read after I finished the book that hated it, they were like, what the fuck? For a murder mystery to be satisfying, they need to provide you clues to where you could have solved it, and then they have this great Sherlock Holmes moment at the end, and you're like, God damn it, it was all right in front of me, but I didn't put it together because I'm not smart enough. That's the best kind of murder mystery. We don't want something predictable. We want something genius, but we want to know that there was a chance for us to solve it.
Yeah.
There's no way for you to solve this. I'm not spoiling it for you right now, but there is no way. I've twisted this around. There's no way for you to solve this crime. You're not going to. Here's what you can solve. You can solve the puzzle of what the fuck is going on. So back to our 3 protagonists, 3 point of view characters. Ted gets his chapters. He's a little confused. He blacks out. He drinks. He has a cat and he has a daughter. And he's a little confused by this new neighbor, and also he loves animals. He loves watching the birds, and someone killed all the birds. What's going on in his life? Then there is Lauren. Lauren is his daughter. She's roughly 14 years old. And she's, pre-adolescent, and she's really butting heads with her dad. Yeah. And then there's Olivia, my favorite character. Olivia is a God-fearing cat. I love her so much. Cool. She's like Like, I don't mean to be prejudiced, but white cats are idiots.
Yeah. And she's like, dogs
thank
are
you.
stupid.
Because everybody always says orange cats only have one brain cell, but no, it's like, no, most white cats I know are stupid.
There's that part where he's talking to his therapist. He's like, I'm pretty sure my cat's a lesbian.
Oh, yeah. She's obsessed with this tabby cat that's outside.
Yeah.
Also, like, she has the best life advice. She's like, sometimes when you don't know what to do, you just need to go take a nap.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yes.
Yes, queen. So she also loves the Lord. There's a Bible, and she'll knock it off the shelf and open whatever passage. She's like, you know what? Like, it's a fortune cookie.
Yep.
Yes, Lord. Thank you.
Like the I Ching. It's like, this is what your fortune
What
is
does
for
this mean, Lord?
Yes. She's so cute. She wants her own TV show.
Uh-huh.
She's the best. And so you get her perspective as well.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's really funny. And she's really smart, too. And she's very tied. She talks about how she has a tether to Ted because he rescued her as a kitten. And she doesn't really care for Lauren because Lauren's really loud. And Lauren has a mental disorder. They always talk about how Lauren has a mental disorder. And outside is really scary. And there's brouhahas, which are dogs.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so there's a lot going on. And I think it does take a while before you kind of, I think, get all the clues that kind of give you a clear idea of what's happening. But I think all three characters, for me, I read a lot of reviews where people were like, I hated the characters, and that was not my experience. I loved Olivia, and from the get-go, I liked Ted. For me, and spoiler-free here, I felt because Ted loves animals so much. Like, he has great quotes, too. He's like, I judge people by two things: the kind of foods they like. If they like anything with cheese, they're instantly good. And how they treat animals.
How would they treat my cat?
How would they treat my cat, and how would they treat my daughter? And I just really, really liked him. And I had a feeling that if Ted was doing anything wrong, he was not aware of it. He does black out a lot. So he's not entirely reliable, but he kind of gave me like a Norman Batesy kind of vibe.
Yeah, I got that too. I couldn't tell if I liked Ted or not from the beginning. I was so confused. Like 75% of the way through this book, I was like, I know something's happening. I know that there's something here. I could not tell you what was going on. And then when I got it and it all came together, I was like, oh my God, this is just devastating. But yeah, it's, I couldn't figure Ted out.
So, do we want to talk about spoilers? Okay, so we recommend it. Check it out. It's got a really... This is one of those books. It's like a Sixth Sense kind of book. So, back in the day, I worked at Kmart. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a department store. And one of my friends had just come back from seeing a movie, and I was a young, stupid 19-year-old, and I'm like, whatever. And they're like, it's a Sixth Sense. I'm like, oh, yeah? You know, she's like, oh, I had a really cool twist. I'm like, what is it? Stupid! Because now I'll never know. Would I have guessed it? Because I would spoil it for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a stupid.
So
this has a big twist. If you don't want it spoiled for you, and you don't, like, let yourself have the opportunity to figure out. I actually did figure this out. Not the crime, but I figured out the twist pretty early on. I would love to talk to you guys about that, but I'm giving you a spoiler warning because I'm just a nice frickin' person. Yeah. I worked with your grandma at Kmart. Duh. We worked at the same Kmart. It was, you know what?
I remember going to see you when you worked there. I'm going to correct you. It was Big K. Yeah, Thank you. Big K.
Worked at Big K.
I remember going to see you when you worked there a couple
yes.
times.
Gosh, we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah, it's true.
She held my baby when it was a baby.
When he was just a wee bear.
It was so cute. He loved her so much because of her boobs. He was such a little boob hound. Once we took him to Hooters. I'm getting way off topic.
Okay, let's talk spoilers because I think we need to just a little bit. No, I know. No, put it up there. Spoiler.
Ding, 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 ding. Spoilers.
Cover your ears. Close your eyes. Get out of the house.
Okay, so nothing else exciting is going to happen on this show. If you do not want spoilers, thank you for watching. Do check out all three books. They were fantastic. And come back in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll put a time spot at the end. You'll find out what next month's books are. You can also always find out. Always. I put our next stream. It is always listed on the events thing on Goodreads. We have like a little discussion thing. It's listed in the description on Goodreads. And I will make the event as soon as this one's over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ted has multiple personalities.
figured this shit out, like, really quick.
I did not at all. Okay, so way far into it, there's this whole part where Lauren, his daughter, is trying to get Olivia to help her escape. Okay, we're skipping over a lot here.
Okay, so this is what I will say. I will preface, I didn't have it all figured out. From the beginning, there's a few things that, that's why I told her, because I was listening to the audiobook, and I'm like, wait a second. And I actually went back and I reread the first 4 chapters, because I was like, I'm missing something. But I was catching enough. Here are the things I caught. Olivia and Ted both want to have a TV show. Ted wants to talk about his recipes. Olivia just wants to talk about Olivia's shit. Ted is obsessed with cats. He's always wanted a cat named Olivia that's black with green eyes. There's a lot of things that made me think Ted and Olivia are the same person. Then Olivia and Lauren cannot be in the same room together. As soon as I heard that, plus the very first chapter, Ted's blacking out. And I think they're trying to make it seem like alcoholism, but because he's clearly seemed kind of traumatized, I think I've just read a lot of serial killer things. Serial killers are usually cruel to animals. So I never ever thought Ted knowingly hurt anybody.
I wasn't sure.
He was so upset about the birds, and he was so upset. He loves Olivia so much that I didn't. My thought was there might be a personality that is his mother, i.e. Norman Bates, which would have pissed me off because that'd be derivative, that did it. If Ted did it at all, he has a mother personality that's doing it. That's the part I wasn't sure about. I wasn't really entirely sure. Did the mom actually do it? I thought she could be hiding in the attic because he talks about the green boys upstairs.
I thought maybe he was the killer and she was like protecting him.
So, I never thought that. I always thought his mom did it, but I thought she might have passed away before she could finish up her work, and that he might have had a mental breakdown and adopted her as a personality.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought might have happened.
Yeah. The changing room scene that Heather's talking about down there, that part tripped me up a little bit. I was a little confused.
So, in case you are confused, kind of like what I did with Bunny, I'm going to give you guys an ending explained as I see it. I could be wrong. This is just as I see it.
Yeah.
So this is where I say you can't figure this out. You will never, with the clues, they don't give you the clues. Because the only kind of clue you have, and even then you can't figure it out, is that essentially Dee accused somebody in Oregon of doing it and went too far. And that's when the detective was like, no. I do think this book would have been stronger if there was another third-person account. Oh, that was the other thing. Dee has a third-person point of view, whereas Lauren and
Olivia and
Ted have first person, which again shows that they're all the same person. So
I didn't figure it out though.
Yeah, I figured out pretty quickly that the 3 of them were one person. I got a little like, wait a second, what the fuck? Maybe I'm wrong. And I actually got kind of excited, but we'll get to that in a second as soon as I give you my ending explained.
Okay.
So, the little girl of Popsicle, A.E. Lulu. She was playing outside normally when they want to go swimming. Their parents will go with them. They were doing something. Dee, the older sister, wanted to go down there, and she got like a new bathing suit or something. Then Lulu wants to go too. And they're like, hey, you got to take your sister with you. Dee tells everyone she just kind of ignored them and pretend she didn't hear them. She met a boy. She got her period. Then she went swimming, and there was a bunch of snakes. And she was running back to tell everybody about this crazy story with the snakes, and then she finds out Lulu's gone. That's the version she told everybody. The detective initially cared a lot. Dee has lost her entire family. So this is pretty clear from the beginning. Why has the detective given up on her? I really wish we'd gotten a third-person point of view of the detective. I think it would have been beautiful and just made this a 5-star book. For me. But the detective gives up on her, 1, because she freaks out on somebody in Oregon. 2, she says you're holding stuff back. And unfortunately, when we finally get that information, it's too late. Now, if we had gotten a third-person point of view chapter of the detective where they're basically like, you know what, I know this kid's not telling me everything, but I also know they've lost everything, and I don't want to solve this. I know that they're somehow implicated in this, and they've gone through so much that I'm just going to look the other way. But maybe give us some of the evidence that shows that they know knows more than they're telling us. We just know that what she said to her. What gave her that information?
Yeah.
That would have given us the ability to solve the crime. That would have made this a 5-star book.
Yeah.
That's my big complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is what really happened. So, Ted's mother, who came from France, her father was like a serial killer, and she was kind of kicked out of her community after they caught her father, and she met her husband, and she came to America, and now, probably because she's got daddy issues, I don't know why, but she kills little boys. She puts them up in the attic, and Ted calls them the Green Boys.
Mm-hmm. She's got like some kind of a weird, like, so she's a nurse. She's got that like nurse savior kind of complex too, in a way, but it's kind of more like a Munchausen thing. Like, Ted gets hurt a lot, and she sews him up. Right?
Never takes him to the doctor, feeds him baby food. She cannot handle a sexually mature man. I think it's just too much, like, even though it doesn't say she was essayed, the idea of an adult man is terrifying to her. And so I think she's almost doing kind of like a Catcher in the Rye thing, where she's killing them before they become men who are dangerous in her own mental disorder way. Yeah. And that's why she feeds her husband and her child baby food. Yeah. Because she's infantilizing them. She also is just really, really cruel. Yeah. But she's a very broken, very evil person.
She's a monster.
I want to talk a little bit about what she's saying there. Yeah, I never ever thought Lauren was real because, one, Ted has clearly never known the touch of another person.
See, in hindsight, I get it.
I did not think he was sexually active. He knew nothing. There are parts where he tries to explain, like, relations, and you're like, you've never had sex. 2, it was pretty clear that Lauren wasn't going anywhere. There was no mom outside, no dad outside, there was no car.
So I thought Lauren was Lulu, but I wasn't sure where he was sending her. So I thought that he kidnapped this girl and she was his daughter, but I was like, where is he sending her? I don't understand where she's going.
The only part where it kind of got me, because I figured this out, I swear, like, I realized Olivia and him were the same person when Olivia talked about the TV show. Like, she's Ted. And with Lauren, it was when he said the cat and him can't be in the same room. I'm like, so, I don't know, like, within their first chapters. I figured it out pretty early on, but it stumped me. This is where I get stumped. So there's a whole really intriguing chapter where Lauren, who's a poor kid, her feet are so damaged, she just drags them around. And she's telling Olivia, who's hiding in this freezer that's not a working freezer, it's just used as kind of almost a coffin, that I do not have the ability to do things. But hey, but she basically tells her that you and I are the same person, and you have the ability to use our hands. You just don't think you can because you think you're a cat. You're not a cat. You're an idiot. So I need you to help me so we can get the fuck out of here. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah. And I actually think that would have been a better ending if you found out that Ted, as sweet as he is, who can't hurt an animal, that this need for having a cat, that he's actually kidnapping little girls and making them be his cats. So
that's what I thought was happening, because I thought he hobbled her.
One of them, he hobbled her and stuff to be a cat, but eventually I thought maybe, well, what if he grew an attachment to her and then he starts calling her his daughter? So I was like, oh, that would be a cool twist. That would have gotten me. Yeah. That would have gotten me. But the DID thing, I called the shit out of that.
I didn't. I really
didn't. And I never thought Ted did anything. I thought if he did an alter, that's his mom. He does have one evil alter, but that's not the one that did anything.
No. The night.
Night. But yeah, I messaged you. I was like, I don't think he did anything.
Yeah. I still thought he did. I was like,
and that's honestly what Catriona Ward wanted. She didn't like how mental illness was used to villainize people, and how the people with mental illness are always the killers, and wanted to show a character with DID who was not the killer. Yeah. And I think she did a really good job, because like I said, being someone who has read a lot of books about real life serial killers, they usually start on animals. You don't really find too many real life serial killers who are dog lovers or cat lovers. And that would be put to tears over birds. So I was like, yeah, there's no way in fuck. So even Norman Bates did taxidermy.
You find out at the end how so Lulu, the girl in the beginning who goes missing, you find out how her sister, like...
Oh, yeah, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So, back to my ending explained. I get off topic.
That's okay, we're getting there.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
So, here's the ending explained. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
This is what really happened. This is where you can't solve it, because Dee Dee's a fucking liar. Dee Dee's a fucking liar, guys. So, Dee Dee... And yeah, you could... I assumed Dee Dee had the answer and didn't want to tell us because of grief. But... unless you're speculating, there's just not evidence there, which could also be where the detective gave up. I really want that third person perspective thing from the detective.
You're not going to get it.
It's just frustrating because it's just like a little mar on a really beautiful painting. And we're like, just fix that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Dee Dee did leave, but they were aware that their sister was trailing them. They found this boy, started making out with the boy, and then heard like a sound, and it said, I thought the description was so good, like when you hit an egg, the crack. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Catriona Ward, brilliant writing. Brilliant writing. First book of theirs I've ever read, and definitely going to read more. I know Heather has read some, so maybe you can recommend one to me. Anyway, so they run down to the shore, and then Lulu has cracked her head on a rock. And she's like, what the crap? Like, it's a giant rock. How did she crack her head on it? And then she looks... Here's the other thing. This is another reason why... This is why I thought it was either bad writing or Dee Dee's full of shit. Dee Dee says in her story, she goes into the water with her period or whatever, and it attracted a bunch of cottonmouths. Cottonmouths do not nest together. And they are not typically found in water. I was like, this is a bunch of bullshit. This is some snake-hating shit right here. And it wasn't. It's actually a different kind of snake, I believe, and... She does say there's a bunch of little babies, but one of the babies bites Lulu, and that's why Lulu fell over. But yeah, snakes, even baby snakes, do not grow up together. They don't nest together. There are some that do, but not cottonmouth snakes. So, I'm going to chalk that up to maybe Dee Dee just not knowing much about snakes. But Dee Dee's full of shit. Anyway, so she freaks out. I personally think, because it... I don't think Dee Dee can be relied upon. I think they saw one snake. Yeah. And you know how, like, some people are like, oh, I saw a fish and it was this big. Or shark, it was this big. I think they saw one snake. Yeah. And they're saying they saw a lot because they were really scared. But they honestly didn't take in the information. So Dee Dee takes off. And they get about halfway into the woods when they're like, oh shit, I just left my baby sister out on a fucking rock. Yeah. Honestly, they probably should have kept going to get their parents. Yeah. Because I don't know what Dee could do for this kid who's had a snake bite and is bleeding out. And cracked her head open. She was still alive when she last saw her, but I don't really know what she could have done to help her. I think she should have just gotten her parents. And the trouble is Dee knows that Lulu is the parents' favorite, and she already starts to think they're going to blame me for this. And so she's already concocting a story to get out of it. However, she runs back and Lulu is not there. And she's like, what, am I fucking crazy? But there is blood there. So what happened? I did kind of assume that the mom did it. I actually thought the mom did it and then died and then left poor Teddy to cover up her fucking mess. Which is pretty much what does happen. Yeah. So the mom finds Lulu, who cuts her hair really short, so I think she initially thought she was a boy. She kills boys. Though they say that Lulu was probably dead. She'd probably passed away by the time the mom actually got there. So whether it's because Lulu is in fact a girl, or whether it's because she was dead, this particular child murder upset the mother in ways that the Green Boys had not. They do go out into the woods and they bury it, and they do leave instructions with Teddy that the things in the forest, which are bodies and also some trinkets and things, need to be moved periodically, which I actually think is a really bad idea, because I think fresh dirt is just an indicator that there's a fresh grave. But what the fuck do I know? I don't fucking murder people all the time. Or do I? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And then they go home, and then they're finally sweet to Teddy for the first time ever. Here's $5, go buy yourself some sweets. And then they hang themselves. So now we have Teddy, who is without this anchor, their mother. And that's when I think he gets really bad with like the alcoholism and stuff. Also, they explain DID pretty well. This is honestly, like, I actually am not in a place to tell you that because I don't know anybody with DID. But the explanation worked for me, which is that the personalities are formed to protect the main personality, the child, which is little Teddy, which explains. That's the other thing too. Like Teddy refers to himself as refers to his mother as mommy, and so I was like, there's something wrong with this person. Like has some kind of mental illness. So, yeah. So he develops Lauren to protect him from physical pain. That's why he does not feel pain. So when he gets injured, he doesn't really know to like clean it up and stuff because he doesn't feel it. Lauren takes all the physical pain, and that's why her legs are damaged. Whereas Olivia protects his spirit and his heart, and she's still full of like.
She's there to be comforting.
Yes.
Yeah.
To make him happy and keep his spirits up.
Yeah.
So I think we explained everything. Do you guys have any more questions? And we can give you guys our thoughts. I don't know. Did you see it kind of the same way?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I had to talk to you a little bit about what happened with the mom. How was the mom involved with Lulu disappearing? Because I was like, she hit her head on a rock. Like, I don't understand. But yeah, then you explained it to me and I understood it.
And I mean, there's a lot of mental illness because Dee has mental illness too. Like they ultimately are killed by a snake bite, a rattlesnake bite. Rattlesnakes are solitary. It's just one rattlesnake. That does kind of add up. But yeah, Dee just had a lot of fucking problems. So I don't know how much of that we can really rely upon.
Her whole story, I kind of just chalked up to trauma. Like she was just, she fucked up and then she got scared and she lied to herself to make herself feel better. Yeah, like they just, it was like so many things. Cause like they did have resentment towards Lulu, but they obviously didn't want anything bad to happen to her. Yeah. And so, you know, I honestly, I relate, just to share a brief story. It's so stupid. I went to a bike safety class when I was like 12 with my two little brothers and my best friend and her twin sister. And my friend and I are chatting, and her twin sister and my two brothers have gone up ahead. Coming from a bike safety class, it's important. We go to her house. They're not there. We go to my house. They're not there. And then I am bawling, but I do remember, even though I was worried about them, a big part of what I was bawling is like, I'm going to get in so much trouble because my parents very much instilled in me that they were my responsibility. So I do understand that fear because they're your responsibility. That, you know, and I also didn't have a very nice dad. So, like, I had reasons to be afraid of those repercussions. Anyway, it's funny because I ended up crying so bad that I got into a really bad bike accident and my tooth went through my lip from a bike safety class. Guys, it's great. It's hilarious. I still have the scar. It's like right here where my tooth came through. I can't even know.
It's really tiny.
It's really dark in here too. Oh, I can kind of see it.
This tooth is chipped.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. But I do get that where it doesn't mean I don't think it means you're soulless. Yeah. But yeah, she knew Lou was the favorite and stuff, and so she's just kind of panicking. Yeah. And so she's processing a lot, and then she has grief from her parents, and she has no support system whatsoever.
Nope. And she feels to blame.
And I want to know what's going on with the detective. I want to believe that they took pity on Dee, and they were like, you know, if I follow this, there's going to be a conviction. I'm going to put this poor kid into a mental institution. Yeah, which might have been for the best. But was it out of pity, or was it out of just I'm so fucking tired of this kid being at my ass all the time? Yeah. Where's that third person chapter?
Maybe you should write it.
Heather has got some stuff going on. Exactly. I'm sure I was exact because we're very smart people here.
We are.
Okay, I have read this one and Looking Glass Sound. It was bizarre. It was like a book within a book. I gave it 3 stars, 3.5 stars. I think you will like it. Nice. I had heard that one was really good. I might check that one out. Definitely. Is it another like murder mystery type thing? Like I know a lot of writers kind of do the same thing a lot. Like Riley Sager always has like murder mysteries. Heather, I know. One of them should have stayed with Lulu while the other got the parents, so Lulu would not be alone. It was sad. Yeah, the boy takes off. Yeah. Like, I don't even know if she could have gotten him to stay, but that would have probably been smart. But I think, you know, with the snake thing, I used to be really afraid of spiders, which is hard to believe now. But I would have probably just ran off, too. Yeah. Yeah. Add the refresher to this. I should. Yeah. Should. Yeah. Ice incompetence, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, well, okay. So now I give this book 5 stars. Read it. It's bananas.
I give everything 4 stars. Everything. I think they're all great for different reasons. I think this one's fun and twisty and has really fun characters. I do think of the negative reviews I've read, some people didn't like that you couldn't solve the murder mystery. I think if you know what this is going into it, you're going to be fine.
Manage your expectations.
Yes. Yeah. But if you like cat characters, like I do, then
you'll love it.
And if you, I mean, you can tell if you like Ted by the first chapter.
Yeah.
So that is going to make a big difference too.
I did skip most of the
was
first
not
chapter.
what I thought it was going to be, though. I thought it was going to be like a paranormal thing when I saw the
yeah.
cover. I don't know if the cover really set me up
Yeah,
for what it was.
When you told me about the thing with the birds in the first chapter, I kind of skipped that.
Well, I had to give you a trigger warning.
You did, and I needed it because that was really upsetting. But yeah, okay, let's read it.
You know, Fourth Wing is just super entertaining, and I think if you want something that you can just kind of just get in there and they bloom at night.
Something, devour.
Oh my goodness.
Great, well,
Kayla
let's talk about
my frickinery.
That's me.
What are we reading next?
So next,
so Adam. Oh my goodness, you almost get a pick again, dude.
Soon.
Pretty soon, but you know who's here who hasn't picked?
Heather.
Is Heather. Heather, what are we reading next month?
Come up with it because
I feel like you and I talked about something recently that we both wanted to read. All right, what is your book?
My book this month is The Eye of the Dragon.
Is it eye or eyes?
I think it's The Eyes of the Dragon.
This one is actually one that Stephen King wrote. It's like his only YA novel. He wrote it for his daughter. Naomi King.
Yes. And we read Fairy Tale last year before, and
I don't know. It feels like last year, but
loved
I don't know.
it. So we had kind of look at that.
What?
Our little video.
Oh yeah, dude. Those are like don't even look at that stuff. Oh my god, stop.
Okay.
It's our video that's going up soon. You guys will love it.
Just be patient.
You know what? Editing takes time.
I'm being so patient with you. It's
I know,
totally
dude.
fine.
You're like the most patient person in the world. Stop bragging about it.
The Eyes of the Dragon. So this book was written in 1987. 1984. Sorry, I did that. So we're gonna.
Were you born in 1984?
I was born in 1986.
Oh my gosh, you're such a babe.
Just a baby.
Just a wee child. My baby brother, was born in 1984.
So I
don't know if you ever met
when
him.
I was picking up our White Claw at the store. The guy was like, "Can you just tell me your birthday?" Like he didn't even want to see my ID. I was like,
"Why are you gonna give me presents?"
He was like, "Just no, because I was buying this." And he was like, "Just tell me your birthday." And I was like, "It's blah 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 blah." And he was like, "Okay, I don't need to see your ID." I was like, "I promise, I really am that old." He's like, "Oh, I believe it." And I was like,
"What a douche!"
Excuse me, I look very young.
What a douche. Heather was born in 1985.
Look at us.
You know what? The 80s were a good time to be born, y'all.
They sure
honestly, I could be biased because that's when I was a child. I thought the 80s may not have been a great time to be an adult because of the consumerism, but all that consumerism made for a very fun childhood.
Yeah, it sure did.
And I thought the 90s was the ideal time to be a teenager.
Yeah.
So I think it's been pretty good. It's been pretty great.
I agree.
And I had a child in the early 2000s before, I think, my friend who has little babies and stuff, they watch like these like AI generated videos on YouTube. Oh, hell no.
That sounds awful.
My son loved Little Einsteins and Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for the time period I've been alive in.
Love it. It's great.
I think I'm going to die in like the 60s or 70s, which is weird.
That is weird. Like, that's really weird to think about.
Have you ever thought about that?
No, not.
You should think about that.
Until just now. Okay, what did you pick?
I picked The Weight of Blood.
So
we're doing kind of a Stephen King month, and you're like, Gory, but that's by Tiffany D. Jackson, who is neither a Stephen nor a King, and I would say you are correct. However. So, The Weight of Blood, which actually, I think Heather was the one who might have introduced me to this book. It is a retelling of Carrie. It is set, I believe, in modern day, and I believe Heather told me that the whole book is set in May, which is part of why I want it this month. But it's a retelling of Carrie, which was Stephen King's first novel. So we have like a Stephen King thing here.
Yeah.
And this girl, she passes for white, but she is has a white parent and a black parent, so she's mixed. And when that comes out, she's kind of ostracized from both communities at her school. But one girl, basically the Sue Snell character does the same thing, like sets her up with her boyfriend to go to the prom. We know this is going to end freaking badly. So this is what I want to read. Overall, like, not only has I have like a high 4.2 overall rating, most of the ratings are 5-star reviews. This is supposed to be a really freaking good book.
Yeah.
So I am really excited. I think it sounds just fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of Stephen King stuff I really like, but then some of it, a lot of it I read when I was a kid. I read Cujo very young.
Yeah.
But, like, I read Salem's Lot last year, and I think I read it too late because it's very 70s. It's very sexist. And I just wasn't really vibing with it. And I was like, gosh, this is something I can use a retelling on. I actually do like Carrie a lot, and I think it holds up. But with a lot of King's stuff, this is a man who grew up in the 50s.
Yeah.
So I think retellings of his work, I'd rather see that than another fucking retelling of another fucking fairy tale.
Yeah.
How many fucking Ursula the Sea Witch books do we need? How many fucking retellings do we need of Cinderella?
Yeah.
Some of them are really great. I have a signed copy of Cinder up here on the wall. Yeah. But we don't need 50.
No.
We don't need 50 Alice in Wonderland
different.
books. Let's do some Stephen King retellings.
Yeah.
So Heather says it's so good.
So good. Here we go.
So did you read it, Heather? Have you read Weight of Blood or Eyes of the Dragon? So Heather, what are we reading? If you don't pick, then Adam gets to pick. And I know Adam really wants to pick because why do I always forget the ship name? It's Gus and Scott.
Scuss.
Scuss!
Scuss.
We ship Scuss!
I didn't read the first book of that one, though.
Fucking get on it, because Adam's going to pick the second one.
If you pick the second one, I'm not going to be able to catch up in time. So, I don't know.
Oh, is it Phantasm or Phantasma? I thought it was Phantasma. Yeah, it's Phantasma. Sound like such a dick. Actually. Okay, so, and this one, didn't this just get a second book? I think it did. This one does sound pretty good, and you should like it because it's kind of like your name.
It is kind of.
But the last book we read by a Kayla, you didn't like that much.
I didn't like that book that much. I mean,
oh my God, Adam says, or we could reread the first.
Adam, you're high.
I mean, technically he can't.
I
love Adam.
Well, maybe.
Oh my gosh, Heather, why did you read it a weird year ago? What about our friendship?
Maybe I can start listening to the first of the Mountain Man book. I'm supposed to be reading Dune too, but maybe I'll put that off for a little bit longer. And
don't you care about Adam?
I do, which is why I'm proposing.
It's on Kindle Unlimited. There's no reason why it shouldn't have already been read by you.
Listen, I'm a busy lady. I have a lot on my
Kindle Unlimited
plate.
reads itself.
No, it does not. It really does not.
But Scuss, don't you care about Scuss?
I don't know if I care about Scuss or not.
Okay, let me ask you some fucking questions here. You Miss Busy. Are you reading while you poop?
No.
There you go. There's 20 minutes a day right there.
It doesn't take me 20 minutes to poop.
Eat less fiber and it will.
Okay, all right. I'll change my whole habits here.
Are you walking or commuting to work?
I do. I have a 45-minute drive to work.
Fucking audiobook that shit.
Okay. But we have 3
other
books that we gotta read.
You gotta walk your dog? Audiobook that shit.
No, because I don't want to get murdered. I walk with nothing in my ears when I walk the dog.
You can put your phone in a little bag and put it in the freaking shower.
Okay, sure. Okay.
I'm telling you though, pooping alone. Pooping alone. If everybody read while they poop, they'd finish at least one book a month.
I'd never leave the bathroom.
It's fine, because you know what? That's actually good for your digestive system. Because a lot of times I am done pooping. But I haven't finished my chapter. And then when I finished the chapter, I realized I wasn't as done as I thought I was. I feel like my bowel system is probably healthier than yours.
It probably is.
I also have one of those squatty potty things, so I'm quite comfortable.
Oh, I bet. See, I don't have that, and then my legs fall asleep, and then it's
and
like
the joy of Scuss gets me through anything.
Well, we'll see.
I wish I knew about Scuss when I had to go through childbirth. And I wish I had a squatty potty for that too.
How can I? Is there an audiobook for that one?
Which one?
This book that we're talking about, The Mountain Man.
There is. It's by R.C. Bray, who did the Starship Troopers one.
Oh, okay.
I think the first 3 of them you can actually get together.
Yep, I see it right there. Omnibus.
It's a better deal than buying. It's like the same price as just one of them.
Okay, well, when I get my next credit, which will be early May.
Freaking Adam, stop. You stop. You're crazy.
Okay.
Adam, you crazy.
Okay, so we're gonna read. What are we reading? Phantasma.
You're like, Adam, like, I'm just gonna say it. You're one of the girls now.
What's Phantasma about?
Okay, Phantasma, are you ready for this? I really kind of got turned on to this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was looking at books and the romance achievement thing, but they just got a new one and it sounds pretty good. It's part of the Wicked Games thing. And it's got an overall rating of 4.09.
Pretty high.
That's a pretty good. What's the overall we got here? What's the overall we got going on here?
4 or
Overall
5?
of a 4. That's pretty freaking good. A lot of my friends like it. My friend's pretty smart. Caraval meets Throne of the Fallen in this spicy, that means there's going to be fucking in it, dark romantasy. We're a necromancer. They bring people from the dead.
Thank you.
This is some necromantic stuff. You ever watch Necromantic? You should watch it sometime. Where no, you would hate it.
I don't
Necromancer needs help from a dangerous phantom to win a deadly competition. What kind of phantom is this? It's like Phantom of the Opera.
What kind of a competition
is
is
Scooby-Doo
it?
Phantom? What kind of competition is it? I need more details.
Yeah.
Only to find their partnership puts her at a risk of breaking the game's most vital rule. Don't fall in love. Oh my gosh. Heather, I also have to tell you about another book. By Lizelle Sambury. What was the name of that other book we really liked? I think Heather would like it too.
Oh, I don't remember.
Blood Like Magic. That one sounds really, really good. I'm going to tell Heather about that.
Okay.
Not because I want her to change, because it sounds good too. But I'll tell you about it in a second. So, when Ophelia, I love the name Ophelia. My best friend was a kid who was named Ophelia. She was the cutest. Her name was Ophelia Apodaca, and she was from the Philippines. And she was my favorite friend ever.
That's so cute.
Yes. Anyway, when Ophelia and her sister, she told me how to make the Barbie smush and how to braid with a my ponytail. She was the best friend ever.
What a good friend, Ophelia.
Oh my god.
Ophelia always makes me think of Pan's Labyrinth.
Always makes me think of Hamlet and my friend. But yeah, her too.
Ophelia.
Okay. When Ophelia and her sister discover their mutter. That's why I don't read audiobooks. Their mother brutally murdered. There's no time to grieve. Ophelia has inherited both her powerful, death-driven magic and enormous debt of their home. Circumstances go from dire to deadly. However, when Ophelia's sister decides to pay off the loan by entering Phantasma, is it like Phantasm? A competition where most contestants don't make it out alive and the winner is granted a single wish. Oh, it's like Dragon Ball Z. The only way to save her sister is to compete. But Phantasma is a cursed manor with twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms like Labyrinth and filled with enticing demons and fatal temptations. Entice means they want to bone the demons.
Oh, okay.
Ophelia will need to face 9 floors of challenges to win. It's like Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah.
I could market books.
Yeah.
If her fears don't overtake her first, she will overtake them because she's going to fall in love. When a charming, arrogant, always stranger claims he can protect and guide Ophelia, she knows she shouldn't trust him. While Blackwell may not seem dangerous, appearances can be deceptive, like Decepticons. But with her sister's life on the line, Ophelia can't afford to turn him away. She could give in to her inner passions. She'll need to ignore the overwhelming dark attraction, drawing them closer. She ain't gonna ignore it. They're gonna bone. They will bone.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah, I can already tell this one's going to have boning in it. This is going to be more Fourth Wing, less Twilight, which is good because, you know, Twilight is good, but, I mean, it takes them a long time
to get there.
Okay, so, girl. So, Lizelle Sambury, I really like her because she's got a YouTube channel. I actually haven't read any of her books yet, but she has this book called Blood Like Magic, and there's 2 of them. I haven't looked at the synopsis for the second one because I'm worried it's going to give me spoilers for the first one. But what I like about it is Canadian witches. Don't see enough of that. Plus, our main character is a black witch, which we don't see enough black witches. Not since Rochelle from The Craft. Anyway, this girl comes from a family where they need to sacrifice the person they love in order to get their powers. And she needs her powers to continue her family line. Here's the problem. She's not in love with anybody. But there is a thing in their world where it perfectly matches you to your soulmate. So, boom! And she's matched to a guy at her high school. So she's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to fall in love with this guy. Get him to fall in love with me. Kill him. Get the powers. Help my family.
Problem solved.
But he's playing really hard to get. Anyway, that sounds super fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, All right. It was the book of the year in my book of the month subscription service. What floor will they be on? We should take guesses. Okay, so there's 9 floors.
I'm going to guess the 6th.
Me too! I was going to say that too. Or the 9th.
Or both.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god, okay. Anyways, okay, so that's what we're reading. Phantasma.
All right, I gotta put it on the thingy.
Phantasma.
Anyway, add that to your TBR, Heather.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what we got. I kind of like what we got going on.
I do too.
So I like this book. It seems kind of like a combination of a lot of things. It's a romantasy, fantasy, paranormal. It doesn't say it's YA.
No, it says dark.
Dark. Gothic.
Yeah.
I was goth. I think I kind of am still goth. Do you ever stop being goth?
No, it's just who you are.
Like in your soul?
In your soul.
So it's always goth in my soul.
Yeah.
There was Black Witches and the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, American Horror Story, and Agatha all around. Freaking Rochelle was a black witch, all right? I don't need you schooling me on no black witches. I'm just saying it's cool that we got one in a book. Calm the F down, horror addicts. Dude, you take that shit outside. I know about black witches. I know about Rochelle. Fucking Rachel True. Rachel True is also kind of a witch in real life doing tarot readings and stuff. Tell me about no black witches.
Don't tell her. She knows.
Get the fuck out with that.
Um,
Who are some other... You know who else is a black goth in that movie? Detention.
I haven't seen it.
It's really, really funny.
Yeah.
I have it. It's not a phase.
No,
whatever.
it's not a phase. It's in your bones.
Okay.
Well, cool. Look at
so,
that.
Heather, how do you feel about our book list? You haven't read Eyes of the Dragon. Are you going to read that too?
I'm excited for that one.
Heather reads a lot.
Heather does read a lot.
I want to know
You
if
read
Wayward's,
a lot.
Not as much as Heather, I don't think. I want to know if Wayward's good. Sometimes I think we should have, Heather join us.
That would be fun. Heather, join the club.
Maybe Heather can join us for, on video for the next one. Talk about Phantasma with us.
Yeah.
Heather, let us know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
We might call you.
Video on in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
oh my gosh, they just added it to their TBR.
Woo!
Seriously. So it's a kind of a warning. I check my Goodreads throughout the day because I work from home for Microsoft. But if I follow you on Goodreads, I'm probably frequently like, oh my gosh, what are they reading? What's that? Have I read that before? Should I add that to my TBR? They like it. They seem to like a lot of the same books I like. But especially Heather, I'm like, oh, what's Heather reading right now? What's that? Yeah, I stalk everybody on Goodreads. So, I don't know. It's just kind of a warning.
I would like to announce to the world that today I finished The Sword of Shannara.
Oh my gosh, really?
I did.
Congratulations.
I did. Thank
How
you.
long have you been reading that?
I've been reading it since January of 2024.
Holy shit.
I know. It's only
Was
taken...
it good?
It was good. It was good.
How many stars?
Like 3.
That's not good enough for a year, but I'm glad you finished it.
Thank you. I'm really proud of myself.
I have an announcement too. So even though we're not on that channel right now, today is the day that my first video on Gory movie broadcasted 7 years ago.
Happy anniversary.
7 years, dude. Like I'm old. Like my channel old.
You're seasoned and you're wizened, and I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're doing good things.
Anyway, tell all your friends about the channel.
Yeah.
Get them to subscribe. Because, yeah, this one we're kind of building from the ground up.
And also, I feel like I would love to see more book recommendations. Like, I feel like on Goodreads, I kind of get stuck in, like, a loop. And I just keep seeing the same kind of books recommended over and over again. So, think about that.
And we have on Goodreads, so if you haven't joined us on Goodreads, there's a link in the description below. But there is a discussion thing where you can nominate books and such. And all of our events are published on there. One of our events coming up, we do have book club next month. We're going on a trip next month to go meet Matt Dinneman.
Yes, we are, and it's going to be a really
We're going to vlog. When are we doing book club
meeting?
again?
That's a really good question, Heather.
We usually do it roughly kind of the second week of the month.
So I could be available on the 15th.
I can do the 15th. That's right before I age.
I cannot do the 22nd, but I could do the 15th.
I can do the 15th, but I cannot do the 8th.
Well, perfect. Let's do the 15th.
It's gonna be on the 15th.
The 15th. So exactly a month.
Wow.
Book club.
Okay, so I'll make the next event with the new thingies.
Okay.
And so it'll be on here. So if you subscribe, turn on notifications, you will know. Like I said, you can also always check on our Goodreads page. It's in the description. And it is on our list of events, which includes also just like weird trips and stuff we do.
Yeah. Yeah. All of our adventures.
Stay tuned because we're going to be posting our Mickey 7 book versus movie video.
I was like, what's this hairy thing I'm touching with my foot?
That's my dog.
It's a puppy.
He's naked.
A naked dog.
She's like obsessed with my dogs being naked because they had harnesses on earlier.
They did, and I took them off, and I was like, you got no clothes on.
It was funny.
You got no clothes on.
Wow. I think today was pretty successful.
I think so, too. I feel good.
I feel pretty good.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for coming on this beautiful literary journey with us.
Yeah.
And until next time.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
We did it backwards.
I
It was
know.
so
I thought it would
confusing.
be really fun.
Bye.